يحضرها. طيب اوكي، بدأ التسجيل وبدأت الحصة. بسم الله. Topic 7, structures and functions. Please listen to me. Lesson 1, internal structures and functions of plants. So the first lesson, lesson 1, is talking about the internal structures and functions of plant. Okay. The first thing you have to know, or you must know, what do we mean by structure? When we talk about structures in animals or plants or even in humans, structures are organized parts. For example, look at my hand. My hand is a structure. Your lungs, your heart, your brain, all of these are structures. They are parts or organized parts that work for the same thing for plants. Plant leaves or stems are structures. Their flowers are structures, and so on. طيب. Okay, so structures are organized parts that work together to help the organism survive. Of course, these structures help the organism to do all its activities. Without your structures, you can't live. Plants, animals, humans will not or cannot live or survive without their structures or their parts. Okay, now structures can be divided into two types. There are external parts or external structures, which means that they are outer and easy to see. Plants have, let me talk about plants because this lesson is about plants. Plants have external structures and also internal structures. The external means external يعني خارجي, are outer structures that are easy to see. For example, the flowers of the plant are external parts. The stems are external parts. The bark or the trunk of the tree is an external part. The external parts, you can see them with your eyes and you are familiar with them. You are more familiar with them. Okay. طيب. Now, the internal parts means that inside, they are inside the plant. You need, for example, to cut the plant to see them. Okay. For the humans, for example, you can't see your.
Are you listening carefully?
Hello.
Hi, Omar.
This is Mom, Omar Moms.
طيب, okay. Okay, yeah. So the internal parts are inside the plant, external outside. يعني بدهاش شرح كثير. It's easy. طيب لا.
عشان عمر عنده حصة.
Each structure of
يلا هلا بس خلص عمر حصة بحط لكم سباكيتي تاكلوا.
Okay. Each structure of the plant, either it is.
يخلص عمر حصة.
Okay. Each structure of the plant.
Number 5.
لا بس يخلص الحصة بحط لكم. بطعميك وبنبلش.
Okay. Each structure of a plant has a function or particular job. Okay. We mean by function a particular job. Each structure of a plant has a function or a job to do. طيب, what are the importance of the internal or external structures? Some of the most important functions are the internal structures help the plant to survive, grow, protection, to protect it, and reproduction. So these are the functions of the internal parts or internal structures of the plants. They help the plant in survival. It helps the plant to stay alive. It help the plant in growth, which means that without these structures, the plant can't grow, and it also protect the plant and also help it to reproduce. Okay. طيب. يعني يتكاثر. Reproduction means التكاثر. Okay. So again خليني ارجع من اول عشان اذكركم. Plants have structures. What do you mean by structures? Are parts or organized parts that work together to help the organism survive. Plants have external structures and also internal structures. External means outside and easy to see, or they are outer parts and easy to see, and the internal parts or internal structures, they are inside the plant. Each structure, either it is external or it is internal, has a particular job or function. Some of the most important functions. What are the functions of the internal parts? Growth, survival, protection, and reproduction. طيب. The functions of each kind of internal structure are more specific. يعني each part or each structure has its specific function. Example, the ovary. And يعني اللي معه كتاب, you can see the ovary of the plant in page 285. بس شفت قهوة لو سمحتوا. اوكي طيب. الآن الشاحن بس بده يطفي, التليفون اللابتوب بده يطفي. Wait a minute. Okay. Okay, so the ovary of the plant. You can see it in page 285. The ovary, it's found in the flower, and it is the female or part of the female reproductive part. Plants have reproductive parts. These reproductive parts found in the flowers. So, the reproductive parts can be two types: male reproductive part and female reproductive part. The ovary of the flower, the ovary is a female part, reproductive part, that helps the plant reproduce by its name, since it's reproductive part. So it means that it helps the plant reproduce. Inshallah, later in grade 5 and grade 6, you will take more in more details about the reproductive parts of the plant. The ovary, for example, the eggs produce the eggs in the plants, okay? And these eggs then develop into seeds. Okay. يوسف عبيدات موجود معنا بالميتينج. يوسف. هلو. وعشانه كان في مشكلة عندك بالجوينينج. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the ovary of the plant help the plant to reproduce. Okay. The specific function. أنا ما أعرف فشلت هون. Okay. Okay. Yes. The specific function of the ovary is to produce eggs and provide a place for seeds to develop. يعني here inside the ovary, the seed develop, and after this, as you know, the seed becomes a new plant. طيب. What are some functions of internal leaf structures? Now, there are internal parts inside the leaf of the plant. These internal parts help the plant to in the process of photosynthesis. As you know, plants make their own food. Plants need energy. Like humans, like animals, plants need energy. But how the plants can get this energy? Plants, as you know, cannot move. So they cannot, for example, hunt. They cannot make like animals or like humans. So what is special about plants? Plants can make their own food. They make sugar or food by themselves in a process called photosynthesis. هاي عملية اسمها بالعربي البناء الضوئي. The plants can make their own food and get energy by a process called photosynthesis. Okay, plants use a process called photosynthesis to make food or sugar. This sugar, of course, completely different from the sugar that you put, or the table sugar that you put on the tea, or that we use it. It's called sugar, yes, but it is different from the sugar that you know. Okay, so there are 3 internal parts or internal structures inside the leaf of the plant that help the plant in the process. These structures are veins, okay, the stomata and chloroplasts. All of these, remember please, the veins, stomata, chloroplasts, all of them are internal parts, and all of them found where? Inside the leaf. Inside the leaf, and all of them help the plant in the process of photosynthesis. Right, let us see what do these structures do. First, veins. Veins in photosynthesis, the veins of a plant draw water from the soil up into its leaves. As you know, plants take water from the soil. This water is taken by the roots. Roots of the plant take water from the soil, then water moves to the stem and then to the leaves. There are structures called veins. إذا بتطلعوا page 286, there are veins in the leaves. زي عروق هيك بتشوفها. هذول their function to draw water from the soil up into its leaves. And as you know, plants, as we will see inshallah, plants need water in photosynthesis. Okay? Stomata. Another important internal part of the leaf are called the stomata. You can see them in page 287. You can see the picture or the image for, you can see an image for the stomata. What are stomata? They are tiny openings, يعني فتحات صغيرة. فتحات صغيرة زي شبابيك يعني طبعا, but they are very, very small, tiny openings where on a leaf that take in through the stomata, please, ركز, carbon dioxide from the air enter the plant through the stomata. Okay, so carbon dioxide from air enter the plant through these tiny openings that are called stomata. Also, the stomata are important because they release other gases from the plant. What does it mean? What is the meaning of release? Release means when you get rid of something, when something exits. Plants, for example, oxygen gas is released from the plant through the stomata. Okay, so stomata are very, very small or tiny openings on a leaf of the plant. They take in carbon dioxide from the air and release other gases such as oxygen. Another important part in the leaf, or another important internal part of the leaf, that is called the chloroplast or chloroplasts. Okay, they found photosynthesis happens exactly inside this part or this structure that's called the chloroplast. Okay, and as I told you, it is found inside the leaf. So we have 3 important parts in the leaf or in the leaves of the plants: veins, stomata, and chloroplast. The veins draw water from the up to the leaves, draw water from the soil up into the leaves. Then stomata are tiny openings. Through the stomata, gases can enter and leave. Carbon dioxide enter and oxygen is released. تفضلي هادية، ايش بدك؟ يا ريت انه نحاول نخفف الاسئله او نخلي الاسئله اخر شيء. تفضلي هادية. ايش سؤالك؟
What you hear Venus? What means that the Venus of the plant draw water from the soil up into its leaves?
veins هذول زي فينز يا هادي اللي هم بنسميهم زي عروق، بتشوفيهم بالورقه، هذول بيسحبوا المي من لفوق. كيف المي بتوصل للورقه؟ اول شيء طبعا بتعرف البلانتس تيك ووتر فروم ذا سويل، النباتات بتاخذ المي من التربه عن طريق الجذور، الجذور بتبعثها لفوق. طبعا مين بدخلها على الورقه؟ الفينز، هاي العروق زي الشرايين يعني.
Okay.
ان شاء الله تكون. طيب الان let's continue, and the last part of the plant called the chloroplast. Inside this part photosynthesis happens. Okay, photosynthesis happens or takes place inside the chloroplast of the plant. طيب now what is photosynthesis? Let's talk about photosynthesis in more details. خليني اشرح لكم شوي عن الفوتوسينثيسيس. اول شيء important things you have to know about photosynthesis. First, where does photosynthesis happen? In the leaves, okay, and exactly in the chloroplast. اذا بدك بالضبط تحكي يعني where does photosynthesis takes place? In the leaves, not in the roots and not in the stem, and inside a part or internal part of the leaves called the chloroplast. This is the first thing. Why do plants make this process? Why plants do photosynthesis? To make food or sugar. طيب الآن أنت لما بدك تعمل كيك مش بحاجة لشغلات، مثلا بدك بيض، طحين إلى آخره، نفس الإشي، وبدك بيكنج باودر and so on. plants بدهم شو بحتاجوا؟ plants what are the materials needed to make photosynthesis? Plants need water. This water is taken from the soil. Okay? 2 يعني شو الشغلات الثانية بدها البلانتس حتى تعمل photosynthesis كمان؟ They need light or energy. This energy is taken from the sun. Okay? From the sunlight. Okay? Without sunlight, plants can't make photosynthesis. And finally, plants also need, in addition to water and sunlight, they need carbon dioxide. Okay? Carbon dioxide is taken from the air. It is found in the air, and the plants get, or it enters, as I mentioned, carbon dioxide enters the plant through small openings or tiny openings called the stomata. This is the materials that the plants need to make photosynthesis. طيب, what are the products? شو النتيجة? Plants in the photosynthesis, the result or the products of photosynthesis, sugar. Plants make their own food or sugar, okay, and this food or this sugar, as you know, as a source of energy, also for growth. And if there is extra, اللي زايد عن حاجتها بتسوي ما بتكبه، بتخزنه. It stores, plants store this in their leaves, in their roots, in their stems. And also another important thing, plants, in addition, in photosynthesis, plants make food or sugar, and also the result, important thing called oxygen. Okay, plants, in photosynthesis, plants produce oxygen, which is an important gas for us, for people, for animals, or for everything. This oxygen is released from the plants through the stomata and go to the outside. So in general, again, the photosynthesis is an important process that happens or takes place inside the leaves of the plants, or exactly in the chloroplast. Plants in this process use water plus water, carbon dioxide, okay, carbon dioxide, and energy from the sun. All of these materials, the plant change them to what? To sugar, okay, or food, that food for the plant, okay, and also they release oxygen, okay. This is a summary for photosynthesis. طيب الآن so plants make their own food using the process of photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, a plant needs, as I told you, sunlight, okay, carbon dioxide, and water. Okay, these materials, please, oh, sorry. These materials must reach the leaves. Why? Because the photosynthesis happens in the leaves. So these materials must go to the kitchen. The kitchen of the plant are their leaves. المطبخ تبع البلانتس هو ايش؟ الليفز تبعهم. ماشي؟ في ناس هون دائما منكم دائما عايشين بالمطبخ، بيناموا بصحى بالمطبخ عشان يضل يوكل. صح ولا لا؟ طيب. اوكي. طيب. What happens then? The food that the leaves make must reach the other parts of the plants. As I told you, plants, when plants make their own food in the leaves, and this food must reach other parts of the plant, like the stem or the roots, because the stems and roots and the flowers, for example, of the plants need this food. Without this food, the plant's cells or the plant's parts, as you know, as you wish, would not have a source of energy. The other parts of the plants need energy. This energy is taken by this food. So this food must reach the other parts of the plants. Now, how the plants, how this food reaches the other parts of the plant, as you know, by the vascular tissue. By the vascular tissue, which is made up of xylem and phloem. So, some internal structures of the stem help move these materials through the plant. Water and food must reach all the parts of the plant. These materials must reach all the parts of the plants. This happens by vascular system. The vascular system. The vascular system is a collection of small tubes. يعني كيف السترو? To understand what is the vascular system, remember the straw. How can you draw or drink juice from the يعني باكيت العصير اللي بتشتريه مش بيكون مع straw حتى تشرب؟ نفس الشيء vascular system. It's a collection of small tubes that transports or carries these materials up, down, and through the plant. Okay, so the vascular system. By the vascular system, water from the soil and food that is made in the leaves, it travel through or carried by the vascular system through the plant. The vascular system is made up of two parts. There are two main structures or two main parts of the vascular system, the xylem and the phloem. Okay, and it is very easy to distinguish between the xylem and phloem. Xylem, it is the part that carries water that the plants take from the soil. It is carried by the xylem from the roots to the stem and to the leaves upward. Remember? So the xylem moves materials only in one direction, upward, from the roots to all the plant parts. It carries water. What it carries? It carries water with nutrients from the roots. Look, to understand the xylem, okay? This is a plant, okay? Plants take water from the soil, okay? The xylem carry the water upward from the roots to the stems and to the leaves. Okay, so it carries materials or water and what? Nutrients. It carries two things, water, and inside the water, by the way, there are nutrients. يعني المواد المهمة الغذائية اللي بيحتاجها النبات. Xylem carries these materials upward only in one direction from the leaves, from the roots to the stems and to the leaves. طيب. So the xylem carries water with dissolved nutrients from the roots. How it carries them? In upward, in one direction, upward from the roots to all the plant's parts. What about phloem? Phloem carries or moves in many directions, not only, not like the xylem. Xylem just upward. It's the phloem also. The difference between the xylem and phloem: the phloem carries food. It doesn't carry water. The xylem, the phloem of the plant, it carries or transports food or sugar from the leaves to all other parts of the plants in many directions. Fine. So always remember this. You can see the xylem and phloem in your book. The phloem carry materials. This is again the plant. Here, as you know, the leaves, for example, the food that is made here, it traveled by the phloem to all parts of the plant in many directions, okay? In many directions. Okay, so this is, I think, the end of lesson 1. خلصناها صح? This is the end of lesson 1. Fine. Now, lesson 2, let's go to lesson 2. Wait a minute, please. Wait a minute. طيب. Let's go to lesson 2. ضايل معنا 10 minutes أو أقل. لا lesson بعدين نرجع نعمل كمان meeting عشان نكمل. هسه ببعث لكم كمان لينك، بس خليني نبلش 7 minutes ممكن نخلص فيهم lesson 2. خليني أعمل sharing للسكرين. طيب. Is it okay? كيف تمام من lesson 1? Is it okay? طيب. lesson 2. اوكي. طلع عندكم واضح؟ فتحت عندكم الكتاب. ممتاز. طيب. lesson 2 external. Now in lesson 1 we were حكينا عن ايش؟ الانترنال parts. الآن نحكي عن external parts or external sections of the plants. طيب. external حكينا are probably external parts or structures you are familiar, probably the ones that you are familiar with, like the leaf. The leaf is external part. Stem is an external part. Roots are external parts. Bark, thorns. كلهم هذول تقدر تشوفهم بعينك. They are out the plant. تقدر تشوفهم بعينك. So they are external. طيب. What is the function or what are the functions of the external parts? They are like the internal structures. They have functions or jobs. External parts help the plant also to survive, grow, and reproduce. So they are very important like the internal parts. Okay? External parts of the plants. External parts of the plants are also important like the internal parts because they help the plant to survive, to grow, and reproduce. طيب, let's talk about the first part that we want to talk about of the external parts of the plant, the cuticle. A cuticle. What is a cuticle? It is a waxy outer covering. زي إشي شمعي, زي إشي بغطي الليفز. زي كيف مين عنده شاف شو بدي اسميه إشي اللي بتغطي فيه الأكل مثلا. هذا هذا اسمه زيه تقريبا يعني طبعا مش بالضبط exactly. The cuticle is a waxy يعني شمعي outer covering. It covers what? It covers the leaves. So please بدي افهمكم شغله مهمه لما بندرس عن الستراكشرز اند فانكشنز. اول شيء لازم تعرف الستراكشر هذا external ولا internal وتعرف الفانكشن تبعته. شو الكيوتيكل بيعمل؟ Plants lose without a cuticle helps limit the amount of water a plant loses. Plants lose water from their leaves. اوكي الان again بدي تعرف الستراكشر شو هو. مثلا cuticle is it external or internal? External. Where you can find it? It is on the leaves. Okay, it is found on the leaves. It is a waxy outer covering. It covers the leaves. What is the function of the cuticle? Helps limit the amount of water a plant loses. يعني without the cuticle plants will lose a lot of water and may die. Okay, يعني بيحميها من انها تخسر مي. As you know, plants lose water through their leaves. Leaves have a covering called the cuticle. The cuticle helps limit the amount of water a plant loses. طيب خلينا نشوف محمد ايش بدك يا محمد؟ تفضل. تفضل.
No, nothing. I want to again use you can turn and you again. Thank you.
يعني فاهمه تمام؟ طيب ممتاز. إذا بدي تعرفوا دائما شو الستراكشر and its function. طيب خلينا مين عنده سؤال؟ مستر ملاك تفضلي. ايش يا ملاك وينك؟
Teacher,
علي صوتك.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Teacher, can you hear me?
Okay, yes. تفضلي.
Teacher, I didn't understand this one well.
Which cuticle?
Yeah.
طيب okay, I will repeat. Don't worry. So the cuticle again. Plants lose water. يعني when you breathe على فكرة زي البلانت النبات كائن حي مثلي ومثلك. انت لما بتتنفس بتطلع water you lose water بس انت ما بتشعر. Okay, plants like you lose water from their leaves. Now plants have a cover, waxy covering. يعني it is made up of like the wax. This waxy covering is called the cuticle. What is the function? Why the cuticle is important? Because it helps, the cuticle helps the plant to limit the amount of water a plant loses. Without the cuticle, the plant will lose large amount of water. And as you know, if the plant loses a lot of water, it may die. طيب. الآن, plants need to prevent also another structure that is very important, thorns. اطلعوا على الكتاب في عندكم cactus عليه thorns الأشواك يعني الشوك. Why thorns are important? بجوز أنتم تستغربوا إنه a plant like the cactus, do animals like to eat it? Yes, plants like to eat cactus because it contains a lot of water. طيب شباب الآن الميتينج ظلها less than 1 minute راح أنهيها وبرجع كمان 5 دقائق ببعث لكم لينك جديد. ماشي؟ كمان شوي جديد. استنوني بس.
Okay, thank you.
يلا.
So do I leave?